the essence, at the core, what is it that's required for you to live an excellent life, to live more of your potential? It's very simple, but this framework has taken decades to settle in to my understanding. My goal is to give it to you so that you can have it and you can live an excellent life. But there's two main things that need to happen for you to have an excellent life. One is to master your state. So this is your thoughts, feelings, and actions moving in the same direction. When you have this, when you have contact with yourself and you're able to manage your own state, you're in a very, very strong position. Now, it depends on the situation that you're in, how easy that is to do. Many will go and sit on the mountain or in the monastery and practice this art for their whole life. And they believe, they experience that within that, it's the biggest service that they can do to humanity, is to emanate light, truth, be in a beautiful state. Now, in my experience, it's about going through challenges, taking on actions and initiations into the next level. So these two things. One, you have the state and the energy in which you do the thing, and the other, you have the thing that you do. So what are these things that you need to do? One of these things is to travel. One of these things, for me, was to learn another language, to learn music. But for everybody, it's to use the brain. We have this massive intellectual capacity with the brain, and we're meant to use it. We also have the heart and the mind, which are separate from the brain. The mind is in everything. The mind is to do with the state, and it dramatically influences our ability to learn. It's not just the mechanical thing of, okay, you have to post every day, or okay, you have to learn Greek, and then when you learn Greek, everything's going to be good. There is no mechanical process. There is no how-to. How-to is always empty. To the extent that it doesn't change the state, doesn't change the vision of self, it's empty. There is no solution. But when the vision changes, when the state changes, then the how-to can be put to use. So you see, you've got these two things. What I do is challenge men to go into things that they haven't done before, that feel uncomfortable for them, the unknown. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can juggle. I don't know if I'm going to do a backflip within 6 months of being in the program. I don't know if I'm going to lift more weight. I don't know if I can have a better physique. All these unknowns, when you step into these unknowns, I don't know if I'm the kind of person who makes reels or who posts on Instagram stories, or who has a podcast, or who does long form content, or who runs live events, or who leads other men to better things. But with a little bit of encouragement in terms of the what, then the how is relatively simple. Oh, how do you make a podcast? Well, you can find that all over the internet, all over YouTube. How do you build a personal brand? What are the important elements of branding? Well, that's simple and easy. The trick is that you become the kind of person who wants to have a personal brand. And then you solve it. And it might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take a few months. It doesn't really matter. And this is the essence, gentlemen. Master, progress, have awareness around state and the energy in which you're doing things. Oftentimes, initially, it starts out of fear of who you'll be if you don't do it. But eventually it might be towards pleasure. Wow, I get to see what's in my brain. I get to have these fun conversations. I get to travel the world. You can do exactly the same things mechanically with a completely different mental experience. It's a completely different state experience in a different mind. But you have to go through these new experiences regardless. So initially the podcast might be something that causes you a lot of anxiety and stress and nerves. But in going through that thing of building the podcast, you learn more about yourself, and what initially mechanically is uncomfortable, setting up the sound and uploading the stuff, booking the guest in, these things become relatively simple. And so the game becomes more about, how do I be more present in this conversation? How do I bring the groove to this? was listening to a drummer speak yesterday, Eddie Van Dongen, one of the pro players. And he was like, anyone can start to find the rhythms and work hard and find how to do different patterns mathematically in drumming. He studied drumming in the Netherlands. He's taught other people handpan and drumming. But it's the groove that sets you apart. You understand what I'm saying? The mechanical thing of making reels, speaking to camera, being able to do the edits, it's all mechanical. And yeah, there's skill to it and there's value to passing that on. But it's the groove. It's the groove that attracts you. Whoever you're attracted to, whether that's for coaching or content that you like to consume, there's something about their groove that's drawing you in that resonates at the level you're at. And so the game of the greats throughout history has been to level up the groove. What is the emotion that comes across? It's not just the painting technique, it's the emotion that's invoked by that painting. So I'm going to give you a series of challenges. If you would like to be a student of the method that has transformed my life, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to be able to have an online business and travel the world and perform all these physical feats, run a group of men, run a room, 4-day events, 2-day events. All of these things I can share exactly how I did it. But the fun is in you managing your state and experiencing yourself through these challenges. So if you'd like to step into these challenges, posting every day or learning a handstand or learning to be able to 5-ball juggle, taking on the challenges of other pro players, they've set out 5-day challenges, 7-day challenges. Bringing your challenge to other men is one of the most beautiful things that happens within this network. Would you put yourself forward in that way? There's an incredible transformation that I watch happen over and over in men as they go from feeling like they have nothing to share with the world to realizing there's music, there's art, there's God inside of them, and they start to let it out. That's the big thing. So you have to go through these mechanical things like, okay, when I start to juggle, all this stuff comes up for me. Why am I not good at this? Will I ever get to be able to do this or that? Why am I so focused on the specific numbers and how fast it happens? Can I do this playfully? Can I teach this to somebody else? Do I get frustrated when I teach it to somebody else? Do I feel inadequate when I'm teaching it to somebody else? What if I teach a child? What's the method when you can't use discipline? So this is the system. It's unlike anything else that I've seen. But when these questions are consistently asked and applied, when you go through, okay, now it's time, let's do podcasts. Okay, now it's time, run a live event. 50 people, 100 people in a room. Get on other people's podcasts. Go and travel. Experience what it's like outside your own country. Go somewhere else. As you go through this journey, you open up understanding of yourself, of who you are. Mechanically, it's relatively simple to become rich, to have a child. There's no real mystery. But how you do it, how you experience it, the energy that goes with it. This is an art form that's worth experiencing, worth being aware of. No one ever had this kind of conversation with me as I was becoming an Olympic athlete. But somewhere in me, it knew that, okay, I need to be mastering these things. This feels good. It feels good to be running faster and longer than I did before. It feels good to be able to hit this shot and that shot and do this trick. It's inherently rewarding. It's not about being better than the other person, even though that's part of the narrative and part of the paradigm that fueled me at the time. It's self-expression. It's self-knowledge. It's doing that thing over and over again of like, wow, this feels really uncomfortable. I wonder if this is ever going to feel good. Sometimes it's 5 minutes away that it goes from feeling really uncomfortable to like, this is good. It's wired deeply into us that when we use our gifts, there's an internal reward. Now, this system has been hijacked into feeling, oh, I'm watching someone else do the thing that I wish I could do, and I get some sort of reward, but then it feels really dirty and hollow after. Whether it's porn, whether it's watching a podcast, watching content, watching sports on TV. It's like, ooh, I watched that thing and I kind of got into it, a movie. But then it's like, something's missing. You're not doing all that rewiring after of having embodied the experience. So be on the podcast, be the athlete, be the spiritual leader, be what you need to be. Go through different challenges, different states. In one of the recent workshops, one of the men said, I need you to do this, this all men should do this one thing and sit under a tree for 72 hours. And he delivered it even more casually than that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a big experience. I wonder who I would be at the end of that experience. A few of the men have done the Vipassana 10-day silent retreats. So the challenge, the journey is to continue to go on the journey. What is the new next thing for you? Can you change countries? Can you change languages? Can you change training systems? Can you transform your body? Can you build a business? Can you offer the best of what you know to others? And if you do realize that you're paralyzed by any of those questions or processes, good. That's what's meant to happen. You're injured, good. You're in anguish and pain, depression, feeling lost, good. It means you're closer to the truth because it's inherently there. When you're doing the thing that you're meant to be doing, you know it. Do you not? When you do it, you know it. It's like, yeah, that feels really good. I'm really glad I did that thing. After you climb the mountain, after you learn how to juggle, after you just land your first backflip. And not even after, it's during as well. It's like, this is amazing. This is the best. It's never like that after watching someone else do it. So I know you're watching me right now. I'm getting more out of this than you. If you send me a message after this, then it starts to become a dialogue. Send me a voice message. Yeah, okay, I'm in the game now. I get what you're talking about. Let's play. Then it becomes a game for the rest of our lives. What's the best thing we can build? Building villages, building online programs, building houses, building families, building ourselves, building knowledge of ourselves. How much can I maintain awareness of my own heart, my own mind, my own spirit while I deliver this message to you? These things have been spoken about through the ages, and we run through different methods and models of understanding self. Same as we do with the training. It's cool to have all those different training techniques, and I do value the fact of learning how to build world champion athletes and overcome injuries that I couldn't overcome before, and then being able to reach out to pro athletes and say, hey, did you try this? And then they solve that issue for the rest of their lives. For sure, you can turn that into a business. Any aspect of this you can turn into your business. And it's fun to be able to help others, and it's cool to have the knowledge. But what would your ultimate life look like if you weren't scared? How well could you live? This is a question worth answering. It's not going to be the same as mine. I've had different experiences. I've learned different languages, different injuries, different sporting goals. I want you to build what you want to build, and the fun is in seeing you build what you want to build, and in you fighting the demons and the dragons that you have to fight to get there. It's worth that. Yes, you will spill some blood. There will be tough days. There will be dark times along this journey where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is. But you can do it. You can, 100%. You can transform yourself. You transform yourself by doing the thing. Take it on. Take on the challenge of posting stories every day. If that's the challenge that you need to take on right now, take that challenge on. If you need to take on the challenge of traveling the world, doing a lap around the world, take that challenge on. Set yourself up for new experiences, and a new life is possible. The how-to will work itself out. 100% the how-to will work itself out. How do I make a podcast? How do I build a personal brand? How do I get views on my Instagram? real challenge is to have a vision for your life and to be able to keep coming back to that journey of self state, manage yourself through that process of progression, of developing the life you want, the mind you want. In my experience, it's impossible in isolation. You'll find this in the message of Gurdjieff, Uspensky, and the fourth way, which you'll learn about. And they say it's not possible for you to do this on your own. You need to go to a school, is the way that they speak about it. You need to go to a school to be able to gain this awareness of self and go through this process. My experience is that that's true. They didn't have the internet at that time, obviously. But it can't be done alone. In my experience, it can't be done alone. Every great person that I know is in a mastermind. They're in a network. They've got people around them who are asking them, how's this going? How's that going? Having conversations every day, multiple times a day, generally. And that the stagnant, locked, lost man is stuck, thinks he can do it on his own. And it's a myth. It doesn't happen that way. It can't happen that way. By definition, it's our environment that requires the growth of us. In the spiral dynamics, the growth comes from changes and demands from the environment. In the environment that I've created, there is a demand for you to produce. You must produce. Produce short-form content, produce long-form content, share essays. You choose the format, write a book. But you must produce because we want to see what's in your mind, and you need to know what is in your mind. What is it that you value? More so than how much is this going to help others. It's you knowing yourself and you dealing with the demons of, could I ever publish this? Will this help anyone? Is this complete garbage? That's what's important. And it's going to get better and better as you do it. So face the demon, face the challenge, get in the ring. And that's what we do. If it's not with us, then find someone else who's going through this process. If you want to do it in isolation, if you don't want a family, go and be a monk. Go into the mountains, experience it, see if it's for you. But go to a school where the results that you want are happening consistently. Now, we've created physical locations for it as well, so we can have deeper, more immersive experiences. Who are you? You get to see who you are even more when you're around others. You see how you react to different conversations, different training sessions, different physical challenges, mental challenges, learning experiences. That's the opportunity to step into other experiences and see what state it puts you into. It cannot be done alone. The men who you think are doing it alone, they're not. They're part of a school, one way or another. Whether they call it a school, doesn't matter. It's always there. So take on the experiences and see who you become in the process, step by step. Athletic experiences, transforming your body. There are a series of experiences to go through to be able to snatch, to get super lean, to add some muscle mass. These are the challenges that have formed me into a better man. And you might decide after you've done them, I don't value that. I don't want to continue to do that. That's fine. But until you've experienced it, you have no frame of reference. And you might decide, okay, yeah, now I understand. This really helped me a lot. This opens new doors. The juggling, the handstands. Answer the call. I only need 25 minutes from you every day, and you will become a completely different man athletically. Structurally, your brain will change shape measurably as a result of those 25 minutes. Most training systems are not designed to do that, and they're not doing that. You can look good, you can be able to produce a bunch of force, you might be stretchy, but I want you to expand That's why it's expansion method. And it fits within it, whatever it is that you want to do. And there's time on top of it to do whatever else you want to do. Do the 25 minutes. Explore different types of lower body skill, upper body skill, lower body strength, upper body strength. Balance work. Change it, customize it, make it your own, but do it. Remodel your brain, remodel your body. If we could do that athletically, then we have hardcore, tangible proof. You might have dived into Tony Robbins' work or Joe Dispenza, and you talk about rewiring the brain and changing your thoughts. That's great until it's not, and you're like, I don't know if anything's changing. I'm not sure if I believe in this. I'm not sure if I believe in myself. Well, when you do the physical thing, there's no doubt, okay, my brain changed. It went from this juggling feeling really awkward to this feeling really good. And it does feel really good. When you first do your handstand, you can't help but have a massive smile on your face, doing what you couldn't do before. This training system, done correctly with the intent of spirit and state, will give you more internal smiles, more bandwidth for success than any other system. That's the goal. And if not, we'll continue to evolve it. We're always learning from other systems. It's not a competitive thing. But the stated goal is to expand your mind, your reference of yourself, structurally change your brain so that you're able to be more creative. The left side and the right side of your brain are more connected. Your weak side of the body is less weak. It's more connected. There's a method to the madness. We'll go into it in more detail. But your body tells you that it's the truth. Your body tells you, okay, this feels good. I'm able to survive better because now I can throw, I can catch, I can jump, I can sprint. I can get into these positions, get out of them. I'm less fragile. So inherently, it's towards life. Because the more you're sitting fragile, unable to run, unable to move, the closer you are to death, right? So it's inherently rewarding because you live for a reason. Your body always wants to live. That's why your heart is beating. You're not beating your heart. Your heart is being beaten by something that wants you to live. So this training system is moving more towards life. It's inherently valuable. Same with learning. When you learn a new language, it lights you up. You can't help but be lit up. I just had a conversation in a language that I hadn't had a conversation in before. I maintained fluidity. We went back and forward for 5 or 10 minutes. I didn't use my native language, and I understood what was going on, and it was a battle. But I was in that battle. I was in that moment. It's the same with math problems. You can get real joy out of solving complex maths, 23 times 39, and you learn how to do more complex maths, and you're in your brain, and you're remembering this number and that number and putting them together. It's a beautiful thing. Your brain is meant to be used. Logic. When you're on the podcast and you're pulling this idea and that experience over there, and you're delivering it in a way that is going to impact those who hear it. Your intellect is alive. We have 9 types of intellect: knowing yourself, knowing others, musical intellect, linguistic. Go through these. If you develop all of these, as you develop them, it's inherently rewarding. I don't have to tell you this is good. You know this is good. But it's easy to be distracted by the demons. Put your attention somewhere where, cumulatively, if you keep doing that, nothing good comes. With the hour that I'm asking for from you, cumulatively, great things come. You feel better. You know it's better. You are better. But if you don't have that feedback loop with others, you can get lost in your thoughts of, well, why am I doing this anyway? Why don't I just watch TV with everybody else and grab a beer? But you know you can't live with yourself like that. You don't want to live with yourself like that. The negative feedback is inherent. Oh yeah, I should get back in the shape that I was in when I was proud of myself 20 years ago. All right, let's do it. The fun is in doing it. There is no rival. But we need to use the brain. And then the business side of things, it's a beautiful journey too. There's so much negative programming. Then you really realize how much you've been socially engineered. Oh, I'm scared of asking for money. I'm fine with giving money, but I'm scared, so scared to put myself out there and ask someone for money. Okay. You might not be able to honestly word it like that, but truth is truth. You're scared. It's okay. We've all been through that. If you've been programmed through mainstream education, if you've watched popular media, then you've been programmed. You don't realize you're being programmed. Child just accepts everything as, okay, this is reality. I'm accepting of this. You don't have the ability to think, oh, this is bullshit. He's trying to get in my money mind right now. He's trying to set me up for a life of slavery, servitude, poverty, being leveraged. All the little memes, all the little ideas. You don't get to face that until you start building. And then you're like, oh, shit. My mind, my brain, it's all been taken in this direction that doesn't allow me to be part of the mercantile class. Okay. What next? Settle for a job, settle for putting the vast majority of your life force into something that is not really at the core of what you're here to do. Live in a city, buy the things you're allowed to buy, accept what you have to accept to live in that environment. Watch it change, watch it change, watch it change, more and more control. Wonderful. Okay. Or learn how to look after yourself. As every 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old has the instinct and the intent built into them to do, to be able to look after themselves. Your ancestors had a herd of sheep, cows, goats, whatever it was, and your cousins and your uncles. And because everybody had herds, what was the risk? And you had chickens, and you had crops, and you had potatoes. Worst case, we eat the potatoes. But now, without any land, without being in the mercantile class, feeling uncomfortable about offering anything to the world, what is the common man to do? Hopefully you've already been through this. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you got lucky with different parents, different education, and you start on this train earlier. For me, I did it the hard way. I did all this stuff the hard way. I learned the backflip when I was around 30. I learned to juggle in my 20s. I learned to 5-ball juggle in my 30s. It's not easy. I learned to handstand. It took me like 3 years. Started when I was 28. All this stuff took longer. I wanted to have a business for 2-3 years before I finally made my first couple of $1,000 and then $30,000. It's kind of my first big push. And I'll share what I did, and I'll share what I recommend based on having worked with now thousands of men. But ultimately, all this journey is you slaying the dragon, slaying the demons, overcoming the limitations. And as you do that, you start to feel more intent within you, bigger dreams. But you have to conquer these little things of knowing that you can look after yourself independently. It seems like a big thing because everybody's battling with it their whole life, how to solve the reptilian needs, food, finding a partner, being able to defend themselves. But really the reptiles can solve that with their tiny little brains. We've been given these massive brains. So what are they meant for? What could we do with them? If we weren't obsessed with the reptilian needs that we could have solved with a fraction of the brain power that we have, what are we meant to use this brain for? But we've also got a bigger heart brain. Mammals can't love. Mammals can love. Reptiles can't love. Mammals can love. Mammals do love. Probably a lot better than a lot of humans. Probably better than me most of my life, maybe even today. But stepping into these conversations, stepping into this learning, this opportunity to feel something you haven't felt before. We've been gifted and blessed, massive capacity. And what I've done is explore that myself with athletes, turning them into world champions, with other men who are willing to have these types of conversations. Now, the men I worked with 10 years ago who have world-class gyms and are business coaches now, like Tim Frey and Brando Hassick, We weren't going as deep at that stage. And they haven't gone as deep. But the men who are in the program now, we're going deep straight away. Yeah, they're making their $5,000 a month, their $10,000 a month. They're clicking through milestones. The best of them. Obviously, not everyone. Everyone has their different speed. Generally, I say it takes 4 years to be able to really shift who you are, how you think, to be able to really start creating, to have a significant amount of self-development, personal skills in business, belief in yourself, to be able to get after something really important. It takes usually around 4 years. But the goal is to shorten that down, and I'm open to having much deeper conversations much sooner, to call on the power of the universe, to call on the power of God, the heart, the mind. Let's speak about these things earlier in the journey and see what happens. What is there to be scared of? Knowing ourselves. Some of the conversations are brutal because you understand that you've been bonsaied. You understand that there is an enemy. There is something that doesn't want your ability to unfold. And as you go through the materials, like, you will understand that there's an opposition. Most people don't want to know that. And they still, when they see it, they're like, yeah, but maybe it's just capitalism, maybe it's just money and human nature. And no, there's an opposing force that doesn't want you to unfold. And it's been working against you since before you were born. Good. Makes it all the more meaningful, makes it all the more important to get in touch with the heart, because you don't have to believe anything I say then. All you have to do is take on the experiences, and then you tell me, how's that feel? How does it feel to be making your own money? How does it feel to be traveling the world? How does it feel to not feel nervous, to feel excited about going into conversations with women? How does it feel to be excited about becoming a father? You tell me. I know, because I know it myself. What I've experienced, we're more similar than different. I know your heart guides you and will guide you because mine has guided me. I knew in my heart when I was traveling through Latin America, I had to build villages. I had to get some land, put some animals on that land, gain a degree of autonomy and self-sufficiency, and then invite others to experience it. That's what I felt in my heart at 24. Then I just kept going and going, traveling, trying to find the girl, trying to find the land, figuring out a way to get some money. It wasn't really working, fighting against the system. So I went back to rugby league. I did the next thing that felt like, okay, this will help, because I got really broken, really sick, really poor, really alone, lost my belief in myself. So I worked in rugby again. I was like, that'll help to rebuild me. I can build my personal momentum. I can get some money again, see if I can be of use to these rugby players. And I was of use, and it was good for me. I did rebuild my health. I had amazing conversations, connections I built through that time. I was probably doing most of it, definitely doing most of it through a reptilian kind of lens of survival and competing. And I could have had a lot more fun, but I was using my intellect. I was developing physical abilities. I was coaching. I was thinking deeply. I wasn't wrapped up in content. I wasn't wrapped up in what everyone else was doing. I was doing my thing. And that led me, I knew all the way through, like, this is not it, but this is helping me towards it. I'm getting closer. So you will have that feeling. You go through those phases. It's fine if you have to work a normal 9 to 5 for the first 2 years and you're doing all this stuff on the side and you're like, I wonder what's happening. I wonder if this is going to work for me. It's fine. As long as you're doing the thing, as long as you keep diving into new experiences, as long as you're using the intellect, as long as you're connecting with your heart, next steps will emerge. You'll decide, okay, I need to move country now. Okay, I'm ready to change. I need to quit this job. Okay, you decide. Your heart will tell you. You'll know. So I know you have a beautiful journey ahead if you can step into a little more of the unknown. I've seen it over and over with other men now. I know it's not just me. It's exactly the same with the others. But when you decide to go alone, you tend to stop or you stagnate. So I knew 24 physical villages has to happen. And then I started listening to Bob Proctor, Worthy Ideal, Success Puzzle. You can find this in the resources as well. Links to the content that's online. You can find it online as well. Success Puzzle, Worthy Ideal. If it all goes to plan, what will happen? What will you do? What comes up when I listen to that, when I think about it over and over, is 100%, I need to have land. I want 3 locations around the world where I can teach people my truth and have conversations and open up the possibility for them to speak their truth and share their best. And it seemed crazy at the time. I was still working in professional rugby league when I started writing that down. I wrote it down on a goal card. I kept looking at it. And it does feel uncomfortable initially. It gives you like butterflies. But then you move towards it. You move that one step. That was part of the reason that gave me the courage to step away from the best job I'd ever had, making the most money, getting the most respect. I was coaching the best rugby team in the world. It was the best rugby league job that I could have. And it was the most successful. It was the happiest I'd been. It was the best food I was eating. I was in a good relationship. I'd just become a father. And I stepped away from it because I knew I needed to go into this next journey. And there'll always be that, all right, let's step through, burn the old me, die. Here's the next one. And some people will miss the old you. That's okay. Have you experienced this? But now we have these villages, Montenegro, Vanuatu, Bali, and there's more and more coming from men in the network. And there's more and more thinking about doing what Bali Time Chamber is doing. And they're going to attempt that in their own way, in their own style. Spin-offs like spin-offs of CrossFit. Beautiful. At scale, what does that mean? And what is the next evolution of the Bali Time Chamber concept? And how do you get men to turn up there with a bigger frame of reference around different conversations they can have and who they can become? So it's even more expansive. If there's one word, Steve Jobs said it, one word, you get one word. People are going to know one word about you, about your brand. If I could choose one word, it's expansion. That's the word. Expansion, fuller expression. The universe is for expansion and fuller expression. This means the production of something entirely new, not included my past experiences, growing out of my past experiences in an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, in my little world, of which I am the center, it must move forward always to create conditions and circumstances in advance of those that have gone before. It's Thomas Troward, an expansive thinker. The universe is for expansion and fuller expression. Is this true of you? Do you feel it when you're getting smaller, when you're stagnating, when you haven't had a new conversation, when you can't remember the last time you learned something new? Depression is a gift. I felt it plenty. I was in self-destruct mode. I'm sure my life was getting shorter for many years because I wasn't expanding. I wasn't moving towards what my heart told me. I was stuck in these environments, living with my parents, going to school. Like, there's got to be something better than this. They were all doing their best. My mother was doing her best. The school was doing its best, was doing the thing. But I knew there had to be something way better. I knew it, there was. I didn't know how to get there, how to create it, how to exist in it. And it doesn't exist, so it has to be created. So whatever doesn't exist that you would love to exist, it's your job to create it. That thing that you feel frustrated about, like, why doesn't he talk about this? Why is nobody doing this? You build it. The fun is in you building it. Find others who want to build it with you. If you study human design, there's another system that we study together. Human design, you learn whether you're the one who's going to be really good at putting the concept together and energizing it and getting it started, or if you're going to be the one who's better at polishing it, executing it, seeing how, okay, yeah, this is going to work really well, but we need to do it this way and that way. Analyze a system that's already up and running and find the next steps for it. This is a different type of person, What kind of person are you? What kind of man are you? The fun is in working that out. And there's so many lenses that we can look at that through. And when you understand yourself through more lenses, it's not a limitation. It's understanding your gifts. If you think of yourself as a type of car, type of vehicle, you shouldn't be using a bulldozer as a race car. You shouldn't be using a Ferrari as a bulldozer. They both have important work to do. No point cursing yourself if you're a Ferrari and you're like, I wish I could knock that wall down. I wish I could carry that big pile of dirt. No, it's not your role. And unlike cars, we're all here to work together, make a garden of this beautiful planet that we have. We have this amazing, abundant planet full of fuel, it's full of food. It's just breathtakingly beautiful. Children can see it. They go to a new place, they go to the jungle, they go to the beach, and they're just filled with awe of the beauty in front of them. And it's been gifted to us. We're the ones with the big brains. We're the ones with the big minds. The big mind collectively, if you think it's one mind. So you've got this thing in you that's meant to come. I'm explaining mine with the villagers. And you might be like, I don't know. I don't know what my thing is. When you get to a certain level of slaying dragons, believing in yourself, positivity, the next thing will emerge. You keep moving towards higher levels of survival. So when you have no money, it's like, I just need to get some money. And you're willing to like dig holes, drive a taxi, whatever it is, because that's better than what you were doing before. And that increases your chance of existing, continuing to exist. But then as you go along further and further, once you've solved your material needs, it's like, what else could increase my chances of survival? It's like the collective consciousness, right? If there's these forces out there that are trying to convince you that everybody is only out for themselves and they're all trying to kill each other, that's not what I'm seeing. I go for a walk around, no one's trying to kill me. Despite watching propaganda constantly that tells us that we're bad, that we hate each other, that's not what I'm seeing. I went and hitchhiked all through Latin America, walked through the most dangerous cities in the world at night, alone, not knowing anybody, just to see, what is this world? Overwhelmingly, I found people cared about me. They looked out for me. I slept at their houses. I went and ate with their families. I took them up on the invites. Come and visit my place. Okay. Go and visit somewhere in the jungle. I did one in south of Guatemala. They took me to the banana plantation. I think it was Dole, or one of these big banana companies. One of the young men worked there. I saw the factory and carrying these massive, massive bunches of bananas. Cool. You can look at it through many lenses, right? It's a beautiful thing. Explore the world, explore possibility. My experience is that people are good. People want to expand. You just don't know how to. You need a school. You need an environment. So the biggest thing that I've learned recently is that the mother matrix is the key. We all existed in the womb. In the womb, you were safe. But then were you safe with your mother? What happened when you came into this world and you had this massive release of hormones that were going to imprint you on your brain what this earth matrix is all about, what your mother is all about? And you come out and all of a sudden there's a tube stuck down your throat, in your nose. You come out and there's fluorescent lights. There's a dude in a mask. The crime against babies is real. And so we often don't have this safe mother matrix. Mothers are being told, don't feed your baby. Teach your baby to soothe itself. In other words, teach it to cry until it gives up on crying. Why do they want you to do that? Because then the baby feels powerless. How does that adult grow up? Powerless. It's true. You can see the evidence of it. People wouldn't be living the way they were living if they felt powerful, empowered. Okay, so what? You choose. Are you going to reestablish, rewire, reconnect what reality is? Form your own safe base. The Mother Matrix is a safe base for exploration of the world. You don't feel safe to go out and explore the world if you didn't get that safe Mother Matrix. Now, your mother didn't even get to imprint that first Matrix experience as she would have if you were born in the garden in times gone by. You come out and you go straight into the mother's arms, straight onto the breast. Pure love. That first hour of life. These are the conversations that we will have. How to get the money, how to get the body that you want, how to get the brain that you want, how to become the kind of being that you want to be. Connect with others who value the same, who want to travel around the world and experience that, want to bring their families around, connect their families to each other. I can't think of anything better, and I know a lot of other people are thinking along these lines. Everything's better in this way when you can connect on business, when you're all growing your followings and you're leveraging each other's success to grow. Everything's better. But we're not educated in that way. Hey, you can't copy his work. Don't look over there. Every man for himself, right? But that's not it. That's not the nature of mankind. The highest chance of survival is when we're all connected to each other. We all feel mutual respect. We all help each other out if we need it. And that exists within the group of people that I've brought together. That's existed many times, and they help each other out in many ways. Even just being in the network, there's already trust. Within a few minutes, there's deep conversations happening. They would do things to support each other, drive a long way, go pick up the other guy from the airport, buy him a meal. This is our nature. This is how it's meant to be. How do I know? It's in the heart. It's very clear. And we have an intent towards it. The baby has intent. Get to the breast. Explore. Check if it's okay with mother. Explore a bit further. Check if it's okay with mother. Explore a bit further. This is what we're meant to be doing. This is what we do. We don't have the option as a baby. It's just natural will. But we're programmed from our environment of how the environment works. And then the intent works through us. We don't choose. But we still have that intent as adults. We just also have the opportunity to use willpower or think about what the intent is driving us towards. As a baby, it was the intent is go to the boob. As an adult, if you fast, the intent is, okay, go grab something to eat. Drive fast, okay, grab some water. That's the intent. You don't have to act on the intent. And you have on top of that layers and layers of programming. But something within you is like, yeah, if I could really choose, I would get some land. I would live on my own terms. I would have some space. I would bring up my family. I have cattle. It's amazing the amount of times that it comes back to that. Oh, you want money? Cool. All right, what do you want money for? All right, you got $10 million. What do you do? You got $100 million. What do you do? Oh, I create a network of farmers. It's easy to get food. All right, we'll just start doing that then. Do it as a side project if you can't afford to do it full time. We all want to do it, but we feel as though we can't start. Well, I've started. We've got land, Vanuatu, Montenegro, Bali, more coming. More. There's a lot more land in the network between different brothers. There's no limitation. There's no financial limitation for you to achieve your dream. Can you fall in love with it? And then can you initiate yourself into being more of the kind of the man that you need to be to experience it? If you can go through the discomfort of learning new things like juggling, like Spanish, like handstands, like doing podcasts, like connecting with complete strangers and having a great conversation. Like traveling, stepping into these unknowns. There's a lot of other unknowns beyond that, which we'll explore. But if we can't start with these simple ones and deal with, okay, the balls are hitting the floor, right? I get it. Okay, their balls are not hitting the floor and my balls are hitting the floor. Can I deal with this? If you can't, you learn something about yourself. But when you can, you see failure as a different thing. You see, okay, I didn't catch the balls, but this is the process. Which ball was it? What's going on with the throws? Feedback loops. The beautiful thing that we have here is feedback loops as far as business, feedback loops as far as everything. You get that feedback loop. Is this product good? Is this marketing good? Is this village good? When you have a shorter feedback loop, you don't have the fantasy of like, if only I had the courage to post, I've got great things to say and everybody would love it. You're going to experience it. You're going to post. You're going to do the presentation for the other brothers and they're going to tell you what they like about it. It's mostly going to be positive feedback, but you are going to feel that punch in the face of like, okay, yeah, I'm not who I thought I was, but I can be if I work on it. So you have to get in the ring, get in the game. So this is it. Experiences and state. Step into new experiences. Nico, it was the training system. Then it was building an app. And then it was setting up a gym. And then it was setting up a mountainside retreat, advance, a location for intensive self-exploration, development of the intelligences. And then there's the next step. Fatherhood's coming soon for Nico. He said that in his recent video. And there's next levels of expansion. People are wanting to invest. The environment pushes you to have that expansion. You look at him and you look at Ben Patrick and you look at me, you look at whoever you look at on the internet and you think, wow, must all be easy for them now. How did they do it? The intent is driving you towards that. If you can engage with your imagination and if you can get a hold of your own heart, in touch with your own heart, there's techniques for doing that as well before you master ancient meditative abilities to connect with the heart. There are faster ways to do it, more direct ways, because we didn't get to do this stuff since we were children. We didn't grow up in a world where it was accepted that your heart had intelligence, that there was something divine within you that was leading you towards safety and fuller expression of yourself. So we have to experiment with other techniques. I'm not talking about drugs. Some people love doing it that way. But yeah, this is the journey, gentlemen. I know I'm talking very deeply here, but there's meaning. There's meaning within all of the madness, the handstands, the business, the travel, the villages, the languages. Time's going to pass anyway. What percentage of your day can you dedicate to becoming the best version of yourself? What percentage of your day can you dedicate to leaving behind who you are right now, building something completely new that doesn't look anything like what it was before? If you have that kind of courage, everyone's got time for it, right? What else would you be doing? What else do you need time for? Okay, you need a bit of time to get money, and you might be having to work 10-hour days, 8-hour days, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. There's still a lot of time around that, and often there's time within that for most people where you can be using your brain and your mind. And it doesn't take that long to move out of that position. Now we have the possibility to do it. If you've got a few $1,000s, you can step out of whatever you're doing right now for a few months, maybe a few years, experience something different for yourself. The fun for me is in continuing to build those environments, the digital environment for expansion and then the physical environment for expansion. Nico's also working on those physical environments for expansion. He's built very beautiful 5-star experiences. One in his mind, one you can already visit physically. And mine are less developed, the physical ones. But what you need is the environment where this journey is happening. These questions are being asked. So if you've listened this far, you probably want to go on this journey. It's probably the most valuable thing that you can do. More valuable than a house or a car. It definitely is to me. I would give every material thing to go through, to have been through this journey to get to where I am today. All the material wealth that I have at the moment can be reacquired. Doesn't matter. And as you become more of who you want to be, there's less fear. It's easier. You can't be broke again because you're exceptional and you're connected to hundreds of other exceptional people. So what would you fear? That's it. There's nothing to fear. If you want to build something excellent with yourself, I'm here. I know how to do it. I can guide you through the process. It's not about me. It's about you. Let's do it.